Hello, hello, guys. We are here to do berry blossoms today. We'll get started in just a minute. Okay, I'm just checking everything, make sure I have it all focused right. I'm Erica Joanne from Erica Joanne Art, and we are going to be doing berry blossoms. This is a companion piece to Whimsy Wings, which just was released last week. And you get this e-pattern for free if you purchase the Whimsy Wings. So we are here to do berry blossoms, and this will be recorded, so it will be up and on YouTube um, as we go along. So hello, Gloria and Diana and Paula. Hello, hello. Paula from Pennsylvania. Hey, Cheryl. Happy Thursday to you too. And hello, Joan from Wisconsin. Nice to have you online, you guys. Thanks for being here. It's so exciting. This is kind of my debut of this new design, and I'm just so happy about it. Super excited. So I want to show you the original, but it's in the house. I just realized my sister was working on little embellishment kits and she needed the original to look at. So when my husband gets a chance, maybe he can bring that out to me. Hey, Cindy. Hello, hello. Nice to see you guys. Thanks for being online. So again, this is Berry Blossoms. It's a companion piece to Whimsy Wings. They're both wonderful projects, and Whimsy Wings was just debuted, and so we wanted to give away a little freebie with it, and this is our freebie, Berry Blossoms. We're going to be working on this today, and if you're wondering if you can do this, you absolutely can do this. We do everything we can to make this easy for you, including putting the pattern in your pattern packet that you get. You receive this. Once you purchase Whimsy Wings, you can receive this Berry Blossoms design. It's an e-pattern. You get all the instructions, the line drawings, the shading guides. You get all that. Also, oh, good, you brought them both. Thank you so much. So I'm going to show you, this is Whimsy Wings. So this is the project that we just debuted. It just released this last week. And then if you purchase this design, and it comes with a kit, you receive a physical kit. It has 2 of these pieces of watercolor paper that have been etched with the design. And then you got the full instructions, all that, and the shading guides, which everyone loves the shading guide. And then you get a really nice color photos, close-up photos, and step-by-step photos. So lots in that packet that you'll be receiving. And then along with that, once you purchase the kit, then I send you an e-pattern for this. And this is the Berry Blossoms we're going to be working on today. You can see lots of glitter. I love a little bling. I can't help it. It's just me. I just have to have a little bit of sheen in there. So love it, love it, love it. So these go well together. If you are a card person and you like to make cards, if you can make watercolor cards, these would be wonderful watercolor cards. They would work really nice on the wall for display or sitting in like an easel for display. And I'll just show you really quick the possibilities of what you can do. So we also have these panels. These are 5x5 panels, and it looks like this. So when you finish it, you can, if you want, glue your watercolor paper to a panel or a piece of wood, whatever you have. Sometimes people will glue their paper to boxes. That's kind of fun. So once you understand how to do the gluing process, it's really easy, and your mind can just take you all kinds of places with it. So I typically, though, put mine on these panels, and what's nice about the panel is you can flip it over and glue something else on the back. So you have have two different options for display. In this kit, when these are on our website, it does include a little easel. You can see the easel. So you could display it on an easel. Just so many fun ideas. You could also take it and glue it on the panel. We do sell the panels separately if you want them that way too. But you can glue it on a panel and then even on another piece of wood, or like I said, like a box, or there's just so many fun things to do. So I'll leave that with you. You guys can have fun with it. So we are going to be tracing our pattern onto a piece of watercolor paper today. And I'm going to always do that online because I want you to know how to do the tracing. It's really important. But I also want you to know what's available to you. So we do have the etched watercolor paper for it, for the design, if you want to purchase that. We do have separate watercolor paper pieces, and they come in packs of 2. So you get 2 together. These are also 5 by 5 inches. And so, yeah, you can decide what you want to do. If you have watercolor paper pad at home and you just want to use your watercolor paper, that's why we're going to be tracing today, is so that you can understand how to do that. But like I said, you can get it etched. Some people like to get the etched because they are shaky or have a hard time tracing the design. And so this, like I said, is available on our website. You can purchase it. This video will be up on YouTube, so don't worry about it being taken down or anything. We're going to keep these promo videos. These are like our little promo videos. We're going to keep them up on YouTube. Okay, let's look at what you have to say. Hello, Cindy. And Diana says, I enlarged the pattern and I'm painting it on a memory box. Awesome, Diana. I love that, how you're thinking out of the box. You're not necessarily feeling like you're stuck doing it this way. You can use your imagination and do other things. I love that, Diana. Thanks for sharing. I always give you guys permission to reduce my patterns or make them larger. You are totally welcome to do that. We just ask that you don't hand them all to your friends. That's all. Don't hand the patterns to your friends. They can all just send them to our website. They can come to our website. Well, thank you. I think it's Kathy Ferrara. I think that's her first name. There it is. Yeah, Kathy Ferrara. She says, I'm so excited to be able to join my first live. Yay! We're glad you're here. And Valerie, hi from Oklahoma. And Haroline, I'm going to say it wrong. Haroline, right? Hello from Buell, Idaho. Hi there. And Cheryl, she's saying, what a great idea. Diana, Joan, hello. And Diana says, Whimsy Wings is beautiful. Thank you so much. Cindy says, have been raising monarchs for years. Oh my goodness. Tell us more, Cindy. That is so exciting. I would love to hear your story about that. That's so neat. Okay. All right. Yeah. My sister comes twice a week to do orders, Mondays and typically Fridays. And so she'll be here on Friday. And so she did get some orders out on Monday. And I have another sister that just got back from a big trip, and she is going to be coming on Wednesday. So we'll have people working on orders more. So I'm excited about that. But some orders did go out. There's still some sitting in there, and I know. So we're working on it, and they'll be out in the mail to you here soon. Just know that this video will stay here, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay? And if you have not liked our channel, please go like and subscribe. You'll get the notifications of when I'm on. Like sometimes I know how it is for me. Life gets busy and I might put something on my calendar, but sometimes I forget. And it's nice to get that little notification. Oh, so-and-so's on right now. Or someone just landed a video. So that's always good. So can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure my microphone is working well. You can hear me. All right, we will get started. So anyone who's just coming on, I'll just explain one more time. This is Whimsy Wings, and we released this pattern. It's a kit actually last week. It comes with the watercolor paper etched and all your embellishments, your little jewels, and it has full instructions, your line drawings, your shading guides, everything you need for this piece. And with that, when you purchase that, you receive berry blossoms kind of complimentary bonus project. And we'll send that by email to you as an e-pattern. And that's what we're going to be working on today is berry blossoms. So what you need is you need a piece of 5x5 watercolor paper, and you can just cut this down yourself. If you get like a big pad, just cut it down to 5x5 or even 6x6. If you want to give yourself a little wiggle room, you can always cut it a little bigger. And like Diana was saying, you can zoom it up. She's going to take hers and put it on a memory box, which is a wonderful idea. I love that idea. So be thinking of how you want to be creative with this design. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to tape down my surface, and I use painter's tape because that doesn't like ruin your paper. So I want to make sure that's on there good. Just get that tape down first, and then I want to tape down my pattern. So you just take your pattern that you get in the email by email, and you print it out. And you'll want to, if you want it the same size that I'm doing mine, then you'll want to make sure that is the original size. I'm going to get kind of redo this here. It's the original size when you print it out, and then you'll get it the 5x5 size. And there's also a little thing on the drawing guide, drawing and shading guide. Let me just show you really quick. Let's see here. Oh, that's in the printer too. So Dale, could you get me the drawing guide? It's in the printer. So anyway, there's a little box at the bottom of your drawing and shading guide that says this box is 1 inch by 1 inch if you printed out this correctly. So you just want to make sure your printer is printing out the original size. Sometimes the printer will say no scaling. You just have to kind of play around with it. Okay, so you want to position your piece on here so it's centered. Thank you, honey. So this is the drawing and shading guide. I just want to show you. And you can just print it out and cut that out like I did. And then you have that to play around with. Okay, so I want to try to center this. The other thing you can do is you can trace this on tracing paper and then use your tracing paper to put down, and then you can kind of see, through the tracing paper where you are. And I am kind of impatient, but I also like the lines to be the original lines that I'm following. And so that's why I tend to do it this way because I don't want to trace it. I know when I trace it that it's going to change. The pattern will change a little bit. So I tend to just do it this way. Okay, I'm just trying to center it, kind of looking around. I'm going to shift it up a little bit more and make sure my sides are good. Looks like I can move it over to the left a little more. A little more. Okay. I think we're good. Be down just a tad. Okay. Once you get it to where you want it to be, I'm just looking at this berry. Okay. Then you go ahead and tape that down too. So now you have a nice, you can lift it up, it's going to stay where it needs to stay. Thank you, Dale and Diana. Thank you for telling me I'm sounding okay. Good. Oh, Sandy and Susie are here. Yay. The sisters are here. Okay. So what we'll want next is a trace, let's see, graphite paper. And this is my graphite paper. This is actually wax-free graphite paper. And we have this on our website. So if you're interested, you can find it there. I do like the wax-free, and you'll notice that watercolorists that use watercolor paper tend to go wax-free because if it goes if the graphite, you know, shows up elsewhere on your paper, you can erase it really easily. If it has wax in the paper, it's harder to erase. So that's why watercolorists will tend to go with the wax free. You want to put the darker side down. Let me just make sure this is the darker side. Yeah, darker side down. And then you just go ahead and trace it. I like to trace it either with a pin or a sharp pointed stylus or a sharp pencil. So I'm just going to use a pencil today. Have a nice sharp point on it. And just take your time and do your tracing. I always tell my students that I love doing my homework with you because this is sometimes with these classes, they ask you to do things before the class. And I love teaching online this way because I know we can do it together. We can do our homework together. I have to do it anyway, so I might as well be there with you and we'll work on it together. So if you're new here, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. My name is Erica Joanne, and I've been painting and penciling for a while now, for a long time, actually, and totally and thoroughly enjoy what I do. I have several videos here on YouTube that you can peruse through, lots of different projects. And I'm here to tell you very confidently that you can do this. You can. Some people think, oh, I can't do art. Well, if we figure out all the steps for you, do you think you could do it? Yes, you could. You can. You just have to learn a few techniques and you can do this. It is very doable. We are all about teachable art. Look, we already have the line drawing all figured out for you. You just have to trace it. And I walk you through step by step as we work on projects together. Okay, I'm just going to check my drawing, make sure I know where I'm at here. Okay. Mm. The other thing I like about this um, graphite paper that you can purchase on our website is it goes on fairly light, so it's not super dark. I like that. It's just dark enough to help you do your pattern and be successful. So the weather here in the Pacific Northwest is wonderful today. I'm so excited about that. When it's a nice day, people are outside here in Washington. We don't let a nice sunny day go to waste because we don't get them all the time. Missed one here. I think I'm gonna do the wreath first, this little wreath, and then I'll go in and do the flowers. So if you're wanting this design, just go in and purchase the Whimsy Wings, and I will send this e-pattern to you. This is good until, gosh, I can't remember the dates I put on it. I think it's till May 30th. So you have a couple more days. After that, it will just go on to the rest of the website as a kit. Okay, bringing that around. And after you get this traced, you can take this piece of paper and keep it with your e-pattern. I like to put my e-patterns in a plastic sleeve, and then you just put this in your e-pattern so you can have it there when you wanna do another tracing. I'm gonna check where I'm at again. I also like to put my, like, if I haven't quite finished my project, I like to put that in my plastic sleeve with the pattern so it's protected for another day when I can work on it. Mm, right. Didn't do that. Okay. So what's the weather like in your neck of the woods? In some areas of the country, I'm sure it's getting hot. We're getting to that season. I love summers in Washington because it's just beautiful blue skies most of the time. We have had a summer or 2. We've been here, oh gosh, for a long time. We've been here for a while, but, we've had a summer or 2 that we didn't see a lot of sun, but most of the time, it's so beautiful here, and you hear the orcas coming in the area. There is a pod of orcas that travels around this area. Okay. There are a few leaves in this design, and a few berries. We do have some of you that like to just watch and see the process before you start in on your own piece, and I like that. It's kinda like, maybe kind of building your confidence to get to that point where you do it. So, hello, Alice. Hello, Alice from South Florida. A little late, better late than ever, that's for sure. Glad you're here. It's sunny. She says it's sunny and hot, 87 degrees. Yep, you're right in the thick of it. Wisconsin is 72 right now, so it's June. Okay, we'll go in and start in on the flowers. Get those traced. So we kind of came up with a schedule, and I'm really working hard to be on YouTube once a week. And our Thursdays have relaxed a little bit, so we can do Thursdays in the morning. Last week, I was on and I did another project from the Pups and Portraits watercolor book. It went really well. I was really happy with the results. So this next week, we'll do another dog project. I'm trying to get through the whole book. I think I'm at, well, I don't know, I maybe done 6 or 7 of the designs. 5, I don't know. I'll show you what I've done so far. So we wanna get through that dog book, and then we'll start in on another book, and that will be every other week. And then the other weeks, this next if you get in our email list, you'll know what's going on. We try to keep you informed through email. But our schedule for next week, okay, is going to be the dog, and then the week after that will be a project called Strawberry Summer, and we will show that to you next week. So you'll get a chance to see what that looks like next week. Strawberry Summer. Okay, a few more, and we're done with tracing. So, yesterday, we went to a friend's, and they had some stepping stones that they were giving away, and so we were like, "Okay, we'll take some." And we went, and they're, like, really big and heavy, and so we have stepping stones in the back of our car right now. Okay, I am just looking at this, make sure I got everything traced before I take off my tape. I just wanna make sure. Okay, think I'm good. Think I'm good. There's one berry I see. Uh-huh, right there. Mm, okay. So this would be, yeah, a good idea to take this and put it in my plastic sleeve along with my e-pattern so I keep everything in the same place. And then you can like it's mobile. You can like take it with you and do your pencil work on the go. Okay, I'm going to bring you down a little closer to this project. Right. So Verdi says it's cloudy and chilly in Northwest Oregon. I have to give a shout out to my daughter, Aisha Lynn. Whenever I get like painting gifts in the mail, I just got to do a shout out because it's so amazing. But I want to show you what she gave me for Mother's Day. You guys, this is my daughter. And I just thought this was so sweet. She called and she was like, "Mom, did you get your gift?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she hadn't like labeled, she just had it drop shipped basically to me. So I didn't know who it was from. And and then we figured it out that it was from her, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that was from you, amazing." So shout out to Aishalyn. She gave me this. Isn't this cute? It's a brush rest, and she got it off Etsy. I don't know who the design it has a looks like an SW on the back. It does look like it was I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it was a form that they used, but anyway, it's just adorable. A brush rest. So cute. Looks like a bottle of paint. And has a little design on it. I love that. Little stroke work going on. So I was like, you know what I like. She's so cute. All right. How are you guys doing? Sunny and 88 in central North Carolina, says Barbara, one of our certified teachers. Hello, Barbara. Okay, I'm going to show you the paints we're going to be using today so you know what's going on there and the pencils we're using before we get started. So we do have a list of 6 different colors that we're using. And I always tell everyone, this is kind of my thing, use what you have. Get started with what you have. and you can always build on your supplies as you go. Maybe all you have is a pan of watercolors and use that, or maybe you have a different brand of paint, use that. I just want you to get started and try it out, and then you can always build. So the first color is aqua. This is the company I use, Josania. I really love this paint because it is very, very pigmented. A little bit goes a long way. We have rose pink and pine green, Turner's yellow, yellow deep, and titanium white. So those 6 colors is what we're using today. And maybe you have some Josania paints, but maybe you don't have the exact colors and you want to, you can always kind of play around with what you have. And then I'm going to be using a round brush. This is kind of my go-to brush. Haven't ventured out too much. I love this brush. But this is a Josania 2, and it is also a select round number 3. I'm also using a 3/4 inch Josania's oval wash. This is a brush that I use for like varnishing and adding my sealer, my fast drying glaze medium. I love this brush because it has the tapered edge to it. It's nice and soft. When we go to add that fast drying glaze medium to seal our work, this is not going to smear your pencils because it is nice and soft. You want something soft for that. And then another brush that is a little not the same. It's a duster brush. This is not for painting. This is for brushing away pencil crumbs. So if you see on the instructions a duster brush, this is what a duster brush is. It's just a nice soft brush for brushing away your pencil crumbs. You also want a eraser, something. I like kind of a nice wedge eraser, something you can go in and get in and erase. We'll be erasing our pencils sometimes. And then you need 4 different pencils. These are Prismacolor Premier, and we are using pale vermilion today, Kelly green, black, and light umber. The numbers are PC921, PC1096, PC935, and I'm not sure what light umbers is. We'll see. It is PC941. Okay. Mine was a little shorter, so I had to put an extender on it. All right. We won't be using our pencils right away. We're going to do some washes on our watercolor paper and then get the main colors in, and then we'll go in and do some shading with our colored pencils. Thank you, Joan. And Patricia says hello from sunny and 78 in Maryland. And Carol is from Missouri. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so the first color we want to use is pine green. Now in the instructions, it does say, like right now, if you're going to glue your piece onto a piece of wood, you want to seal your piece first with some all-purpose sealer. And you just brush it on and let it dry, and then lightly sand it if it's needed. Okay, we traced our designs. Oh, actually, the first 2 colors we're going to use are pine green, Turner's yellow, and then aqua. You can put all those colors on your palette. And when you go to put it on your palette, you don't need a lot. So I'm just going to put a little dab of each color like that. Little chocolate chip. Turner's yellow. That was pine green. We want Turner's yellow. Aqua. rose pink. Okay, we'll start there with those 4 colors. Okay, we're gonna water down everything to really light wash. This can be tricky for some of you because it's hard to be generous sometimes with water. You're like, "Oh, what am I gonna ruin something?" No, you will not ruin anything. You're just adding water. So I'm gonna pull the color down a little bit and add water, and I wanna be generous with my water. It's better to go in lighter than darker, and you can always darken with more pigment in the color, or you can just layer your colors so it's more dark. So we want something like that. And if you have just a piece of watercolor paper sitting nearby that's just an extra piece, you can always test your color on watercolor paper. You want it to be transparent like this. Okay. And I'm using water to make my paint transparent. I do want that look because I want the watercolor look. I'm not using flow medium this way. I'm using, or this time I'm using water. Sometimes will use flow medium. It just really depends on what I'm doing. Okay, you're going to do all the green leaves. Okay, so let's just go through and lightly go through all our green leaves. I'm going to actually pull this up a little higher so you can see the whole page. See if we can get the whole page on here. Okay. Okay, I always like to kind of start at the top. So just follow your line drawing and just go in and lightly put in your color. You want it to be transparent so you see through it. That pine green comes off really dark on your palette, but when you water it down, look at the beautiful color it makes. It's just gorgeous. Okay, there was that one right there that's blue, so I accidentally did that one. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna pat that with my paper towel and take off most of the color, and I'll go back with aqua to do that later. So I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so you got these 4 down here. Just look at your photo in your e-pattern as your reference of where to put the color. Okay, so I'm just following my photos. That one's gonna be blue. This one's green. This one's green. This one's green on the bottom. So we're gonna leave that area white because we're gonna go in with aqua later. And this is very much like watercolor. The Josanya paint line is an acrylic gouache, which is like an opaque watercolor, but we are watering it down to make it like a transparent watercolor. And I love that the paints are so versatile that way because you can get the watercolor look, but you can also go in and paint opaquely and get like an acrylic look too. It's a beautiful paint. Okay, the other thing you can do, and you don't have to do it on every leaf, but you can start. Let's start leaving some little open white spots on some of our leaves. Let's just try that. That kind of gives you another little bit of a watercolor look, is when you leave some of those open spots. Okay, so we're going to purposely do that on some of the leaves. You just keep going back to your puddle and picking up more paint. And then, I don't know if you can see this. Let's pull this up a little higher. Go. So down here, I'm going to leave this one with some open spots here. And we've got one here. And one here. Just keep working around. Get all those green leaves. And with some of those green leaves, leave some open white spots. Okay, let's see. We have a blue one there, a green one here, blue, and then green here. And green here. All right, we have some leaves there. Let's get one of them. The top one is green. Just making sure, looking at all of them. The rest of them are all the blue, so we will just go with that. Okay, so that's kind of how you get that watercolor look. You just make sure your paint is watered down. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll wash the blue leaves next. So I'm going to pull my blue down, water that down. Make sure you can see through the paint. You want it nice and transparent. Test it on a scrap piece of watercolor paper if you need to. Want it nice and transparent. Okay, now one thing I want to make sure to do before I go in and start working on my blue is I want to make sure my green is dry. If it's not dry, then I don't want to start in on the blue unless if they're connected. So like right there with this leaf, if this green was not dry and I went in with the blue, then the blue would just bleed right into the green. So I'll make sure everything's dry. I'm gonna get this leaf that I accidentally put green on and get that to be blue. Okay. And then we'll just work on any of those other leaves that are left and make sure to leave a few open spots where possible. And that's dry, so I can do this here. Got one right there. All right, keep coming down. I'm so glad you're here today. And I'm so glad to be sitting at my painting table again, painting with you. Makes a day that much better. All right. Oh, there's one there. I don't want to miss that one. Mm, all right. Super fun. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being on today. Okay, next color is yellow. We're going to use the Turner's yellow to wash the yellow petals. So with my Turner's yellow, this color, I like to water it down, but it doesn't have to be super, super transparent. It can be about like that. Sometimes if you make the yellow too transparent, then you can't see it very much. So I want to be able to see that color. So about like so. It's going to be a little thicker than my other colors. Okay, there's a yellow flower here. So we'll do that first. Remember to leave a few little open spots here and there. Fill in that flower. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. Well, we have two other yellow flowers to do. So one right here, one right there. This is a mixed media project. We will be using colored pencils to do our shading. If you are interested in mixed media, you're in the right place. Mixed media art. And I'm a detail artist, so we like to add detail too. Okay, third flower. Doing my best to leave a few open spots. I'm going to give a shout out to my sister, Sky. She is a watercolor artist and she does big pieces and they're beautiful. Her items are in a gallery in Paulsbo, Washington. So you can see her work there. And she goes by Sky Watercolor if you want to look her up. Sky Watercolor. She's on Etsy too. So shout out to Sky, my sister. I love her so much. She is a sister right underneath me. We grew up together, we fought together. We had quite a life together, so but she was there from the very beginning, and I was there from the very beginning for her too. So, love that, and I love that she's an artist too, so we have so much in common that way. She does realistic work. She has this big, beautiful crow that she did, and it's got all kinds of colors. She does landscape art. She's done um, wonderful painting of Mount Rainier, which is a prominent mountain here in Washington. She's done cityscapes. I just you gotta go check out her work. It's beautiful. Lots of landscaping, I would have to say. She does a lot of that. But then she branches out and does other things too, but mostly all realism going on. And, she also actually, she did do kind of a cute design, like a folk art design, which is, like, perfect for Paulsbo because Paulsbo is a Norwegian town and just have a lot of that kind of vibe there, and so it's perfect to do that kinda work there too. Shout out to Sky. Look her up on Etsy, Sky Watercolor, Skye. I missed a blue leaf by the berries on the bottom. Okay, I'm looking. Did I get that one earlier? Oh, there it is right there. Thank you, thank you. I'll grab that and get that done. Sometimes they'll be right in front of your face and you don't see them. Art really is about seeing, isn't it? It's about looking, really, really noticing things. Sometimes we just go through life and we don't even notice. And then later we're like, "Was that there all that time and I never saw that there?" I do that too. Okay, next color is rose pink. Water that down. Okay, if you have like too much bubbly, like juicy color going on it, but it's like really bubbly on your paper, you can just take your brush and tap it on a paper towel and remove some of the moisture. So I'm going to start with this flower here. Kind of work up to the edge, leave a few white spots. I like to start like in the middle and kind of work up to the edges. You don't have to overwhelm it with white spots, just leave a few here and there. It's like the light has caught on those areas. It just kind of it's almost like it's flickering light for you. Okay, moving on down. Gonna work on the rest of the flowers with this rose pink. This color is amazing. I love this color. Shout out to Jo Sonia for their wonderful paint system. Okay, this ties in kind of with the other petals, but we will separate them when we use our pencils. So just go ahead and put the color in. Work around that yellow flower. Okay, moving on to the last one. This is our little itty bitty one. All right. Okay. Now let's do our berries. And we'll do the same thing. Some of our berries will leave a few little white spots in them, and some of them will just color the whole thing. Okay, just work on through the design. We've got a few berries going on there. This one I went a little larger than the berry, but that's okay. It will be a large berry. Valerie, we were using Turner's yellow, and I missed the blue. Oh, I got the blue leaf already. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I thought that was a berry for a second. I almost did it. It's not a berry. Okay, have a few more over here. It's getting a little larger. You're working on the tip, the little tip of your brush when you do this, especially the berries, because they're just small. So you kind of be delicate with your brush in putting that color down. Try not to put too much pressure on your brush. Okay, that's all our colors for starting out right now. We will do the background. I'll show you. So this background area, the blue, that's gonna be done at the end. I found that was a little easier to do at the end. So that's when we'll do it, after we've done all our pencil work. So we're gonna let this dry before we move on. We wanna make sure it's nice and dry. The next thing we'll be doing is color pencils. So I'll talk about those a little bit before we move on and while we're allowing this to dry. Make sure and rinse out your brush and reshape it. I like to, when I rinse out my brush, I like to take it and on my paper towel and just kind of like reshape it on my paper towel. Okay. You want to keep that brush nice. The brushes are not too expensive, but it is money and you want to take care of what you have. Okay. Get up page 2 here. Oh, we do have one more color. Got ahead of myself. Okay, let's bring out that brush. One more color. I had talked about yellow deep. We do need yellow deep to end this here. So let's get our yellow deep out. Put a little bit on your palette. Before we get into our pencil work. Sorry, back up the truck here. Sorry about that. Okay, we're just going to go in and deepen some of the color on our yellow flowers with the yellow deep. And you'll see that these colors are so beautiful together. Love it. So I'm watering down my yellow deep. And we're going to go in and work on some of the lower petals. You're just adding another layer. And I added this so you could get this experience of actually adding another color to layer. Now I'm not going to layer over the whole flower because I don't want to lose some of that Turner's yellow that I've done. But I'll layer over portions of it. So it's just kind of like um, enhancing the color. So some of those lower petals, let's add a little bit of yellow deep. It kind of creates an orangey look to some of those petals. And I'm working around the white highlights. Mm, okay, all right. So that adds a little bit of um, enhancement to the yellow flowers. All right, now that that is done, then we can rinse our brush, reshape it on our paper towel, get it nice and shaped, and just lay it on your paper towel, let it sit and dry. Or if you happen to have a stand for your for your paintbrushes, you could lay it like that too. The reason why we lay it down while it's drying is so that the moisture doesn't go down into the ferrule and ruin your handle. So we want the moisture, and it also can kind of ruin the glue. There's glue in there that holds these brush bristles there. So there's glue in there. You don't want to ruin that. So just letting your brush dry like that makes it that much better. Don't let them dry vertical. Okay. We're going to talk about pencils. We have the 4 different pencils we're using today. The first color is going to be Kelly Green. So pull that one out. These are Prismacolor pencils. They are wax-based color pencils. Color pencils come either wax-based or oil-based. And I like to use a wax base because I can erase it. You can't really erase oil base as easily. And then also the wax based, I can put paint over wax based, but I cannot put paint over oil based, or at least I can't put acrylic paint over oil based. So that's why we are using the Prismacolor. And I also love the Prismacolor pencils because they are easily accessible. Like you guys can find those easy. The price point is not too bad, and the quality is right up there. So there are other pencils out there. There are much more expensive. The quality for Prismacolor is really great. So I like it. I like it. I'm gonna make sure and sharpen my pencil so it's a nice point there. We want a sharp point. And I use this sharpener. You can find it on our website. And it does sharp to a long point, which I like as opposed to a short point. Your pencils do come with a short point on them. I like the long point. They do pre-sharpen your pencils to a short point just so that you have a head like a it's like a hand up in your pencil work because the hardest thing about pencils is sharpening them. You can end up breaking the leads really easy. So they just give you a little hands up by pre-sharpening them for you. And then I want you to sharpen them to a long point so you can do this work. Okay, it looks like our green leaves are dry. That's what I'm concerned about. We're going to go in and do a little shading on our green leaves. And I'm going to bring you in a little closer so you can see this up close. Oh, hang on there while we do this. Okay. Time to take the tape off so I can move this piece around a little more. Okay, we're going to start up at the top and we're working on the little green leaves and we're going to just do some shading on the tips of the green leaves. Okay, so when I'm just doing this from the basic beginning, you guys. I know some of you have been with me, you know the drill, you know all this stuff, but I do need to revisit this just for those that are new to us and have never seen this done before. So we're going to work on the tips. We're putting some shading in there. We're starting out where we want the shading to be the darkest. So that's where I want it to be the darkest, right at the tip. I'm going to use a little more pressure there. That's my dark value. I'm going to move into a medium value. So I want to use less pressure. I kind of tend to go into a circular motion when I do that. I want my circles to be really overlapping, so everything kind of like touches each other. Then I'm going into my light value, which is just a feather touch on the surface, and I want that value to fade into the color of the leaf. So you want it just to kind of gradually just fade right into that leaf. Okay? That's what you're searching for is just trying to get the shading going on. Just almost like if you did it with a brush. There are techniques for doing shading with a brush called floating, and that's kind of what we're looking for, but we're doing that with a pencil. It's so fun. What's great about the pencil too is it's erasable. So if you go too dark, you can go in there and lighten it up. You can also lighten up your edge right there where you want it to fade into the background. So you can just take your eraser and erase right into that light value and remove it. Okay. The duster brush comes in handy. You brush away your pencil crumbs and your eraser crumbs with that. So start out with your dark value. That's where at the tip, medium value, and then light value. We're about halfway across the leaf, and then you go into your light value. If you're having a hard time getting that light value in, just erase into the shading, and that will soften the edge. Okay. Just keep working on all those green leaves. By the time you get all those green leaves done, you're gonna be a pro. A little more pressure down at that tip, medium, and then light. Okay, and you can turn your piece as needed just to, kind of make it a little easier on yourself. I like to have that darkest value down at the bottom, so I'm working up from there. But maybe you like to go sideways, just up to you. Medium value, little circles that overlap each other, and then go into a really soft value. This is your light value, and that just fades into the background. You're also working in layers, so you want to kind of repeat back over what you've done. It fills in some of the gaps. You're not going to totally cover all your texture of the paper. I use 140 weight watercolor paper that is cold pressed, and that means there's going to be some texture going on. Dark, medium, light value. Go back over and do a little bit of layering as you go. The tips are the darkest. Now this side, I'm gonna go down one side, let it fade, and then the other, let it fade. Okay. So I'm gonna hop around. I got a leaf down here. I'm gonna work on that. So I'll do a few, and then I want to show you some of my dogs that I've done while you guys are working on your leaves. I'll do a few more. Always start out where you want it to be the darkest. So that's your darkest value. It's almost like you kind of do a little bit of lining on the edge there, and then bring your color down from there. And you can work around your little white areas. When you get to a point where you're working on white areas, just work around them. Or you could lightly go over those white areas. It'd still be a little bit lighter than the rest of the leaf. So I'll do a few more here. Here's one with white on it. I'll show you how to do that. Just kind of work around it. Turn your pencil as you go, and that also helps with keeping your pencil sharp. But if you need to sharpen it, take a break and sharpen it. It's nice to have a sharp pencil, especially for shading. Okay, so keep going that way. I'll just do a little break and show you these dogs that I've been working on. So I mentioned that I do the dog um, projects in between these projects. So that's the plan. And I'll show you the ones I've done so far. Some of them have turned out really good. Some of them are, okay. This is the dog book that we are working on. Pups and Portraits. My daughter, Aubrey, has done this book with us, and we have several books available. There are 12 designs in each book and 24 pages. So each project is duplicated. Bring this up here. So we did this one, done that one. These are all projects that I do every other week on YouTube. And if you're on my ePattern, or if you're on my email list, not ePattern, email list, then you'll get notification of when I'm on and you can participate. It's the golden retriever. We've got the lab, and I'm not sure what kind of dog this is, but that's a fun one. And I just did another one. It was almost like it's a cattle dog, and I don't see it here, so I can't really show you. But it was this one. I'll show you this one. It was this one. I just did this last week. Turned out really cute with little spots on the dog. So if you're interested in the dogs, tune in. You can purchase the watercolor book from us on our website, and then you'll have it with you and you can just go forward. We have a limited palette for the whole book. So all that is online on my website. You can check out what the palette is. It's just a limit of a few colors of paint and a few colors of pencils. And we're using that whole palette for the whole book. So once you have that palette, you're good to go. Okay, let's finish up these green leaves. Okay, I'm working around those white spots here. You can actually soften them if you want. It's, up to you. Just remember the tip is the darkest. My husband's coming through. Okay. I'm about ready to sharpen my pencil again. I really do like a sharp pencil when I work. I just feel like I can get more detail. And because I'm a detail artist, that just kind of tells you why. I like a sharp pencil. We try to get out and go on a walk. And yesterday, when we were out on our walk, we noticed the daisies are out. They are so beautiful. And I think they're a little bit late this year than they've been in the past. Because it seems like on Mother's Day, they were out really in full force last year. This year, they were just kind of popping up. And I love to go pick a bunch of wildflowers, bring them home, make a little wildflower bouquet. And the daisies are a big part of that. There's fields of them around here. I used to have some Shasta daisies out in our yard, and they would get so big, they would topple over. A lot of times I'd have to cut them back before they got really big because they would just fall over. Okay, gonna keep working, turning it to make it a little easier on myself. So this Kelly Green is the most used color in this design with all these leaves. So Cheryl says she loves the dogs. Thank you, Cheryl. They have been fun, haven't they? Were you there last week? I can't remember, Cheryl. I think you were, but all my classes I teach, sometimes I forget. And Valerie says, I have all the books except the dog one. Oh, darn, Valerie. When we are done with the dog book, I'm gonna move into another book, and we'll just keep going with that book until I'm done. So, I'm going through all the books and adding these, uh, little videos to the I wanna say Facebook, to the YouTube page. I started out doing all my lives on Facebook and now have moved over to YouTube. I do some of my lives on Facebook, and those are with my subscription groups. It works well for those, but the rest of them I do here on YouTube. All right, I think I got all the green. Yay, that was the most of one color we're gonna do. So, all right, our next color is pale vermilion. Oh, before we do that, let's go ahead and we're going to partially line. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to partially line around some of the leaves. We're going to add the vein lines and we're going to line the branches. Okay, so let's do that before we move on. Okay, so this is where it's a little tedious. You're going to go back through and you're going to partially line around some of your green leaves. Now, I don't want you to do that to all of them, um, but some of them more than others. I just want you to enjoy that. And when I say partially, I mean like you're not doing an outline around the whole leaf. You're just doing it partially. And as you go, add the vein line. It's just a little line like that. Add that line. And then we'll go back and do the branch, okay? So do a little partial line around some of your leaf and then the vein line. Make sure you have a nice sharp pencil for this. This is where you can kind of clean up your leaves a little bit too, like if in your shading, it doesn't look super even, you can go back in with your line and that kind of helps clean things up. around the tip of your leaves. You can go ahead and do the blue also with the green. Let's just do the vein lines on the blue leaves for now. I have one right here. Just working all the way around here. Okay. I got all the vein lines on and I did a little bit of partial aligning around the leaves. Now I'm going to go back in and do the stem, the big branch and the stems. I'm going to sharpen my pencil again. Okay. Now I'm going to put it in just thin to begin with, and then I'll go back over my lines and make them a little thicker. Oops. I'll make them a little thicker in different places. So let's just get the line in first. Little berry stems. Okay. We have a little curly, little whoop-de-will, I don't know, little curl there. Put that in. Make sure and get your flower stems in. And all your berry stems. Uh, Okay, cool. Did I get them all in? I wanna make sure you got all those stems in. Okay, now we'll go back in and thicken some of the lines, and what I like to do is thicken the lines where they intersect each other. And I am just gonna check your comments, just make sure. Da, da, da. Okay. Yes, you were there, Cheryl. Okay, good. I'm glad you cleared that up for me because I was like, "I think you were." Okay, where these, little branches intersect, you wanna thicken those lines, and where the, stems meet up with the main branch, thicken that too. And you might, like, pick up some pencil crumbs here, so just wipe those off as you go with your duster brush. So these intersect right here, so I'm gonna make this line a little thicker. This intersects. My husband must be outside weed whacking because I can hear the weed whacker. Okay, do all these little intersecting lines, make them a little larger. You see how that's starting to change right in here compared to down here? I'm just thickening up those lines. Okay, coming on down. There's beauty in detail. Just doing those little touches. Okay, for our little curl here, let's put on a little teardrop at the end of the curl. See how I just added that? Put that in there. Thicken up the line as it meets up with the branch. I'm gonna thicken up the stem as it meets up with the flower and then down at the branch too. A lot of times they tell you to add detail lightly, but this is a place where you can go a little darker with your lines, a little more pressure on your pencil to get those nice thick lines in. Okay, we're almost to the end here. And if you notice where I thicken up the lines, um, where those different branches intersect, it's almost like creating a little web. I do kind of like a rounded thickness right where they intersect. Okay, I think I got them where I like them. Right, look it over, make sure you got everything on there that you want. And then we can put our Kelly green away and move on to the next color, which is pale vermilion. So this is our pale vermilion is next. You know, I just realized this little brush holder can also hold pencils too. That's fun. All right. Okay, you guys ready to move into the pale vermilion? We're going to be adding this color to all our pink areas, our pink berries, our pink flowers. Okay, we're going to start up. Let's just go ahead and do all our berries first, and then we'll do the flower petals. So it's so simple with the berries. You're going to do a partial line around your berry that will kind of like make it round again because some of them are not so round that I did anyway. So kind of along the bottom and then up the sides a little bit, a little line right there. Let's pull you in closer so you can see that better. So a little partial line. I'm just going to do this whole cluster like that, just kind of like a little line around the bottom edge of that berry. Okay. And then go in with your pencil and shade from the bottom. So the bottom is your darkest value. And these values are going to go pretty quickly. So dark, medium, light, really fast. You have a short little area there. Put in some shading. The bottom of those berries. Okay. So we'll go and work on each cluster like that. A line work around your berry and then some shading up from the bottom, so it's darkest at the bottom of each berry. Make sure you have a sharp pencil, and this is pale vermilion. We'll be giving away a prize from the comments today. It'll be an e-pattern of your choice. You just go to our e-pattern page and choose your favorite and get back with me if you're the winner. I keep a little notebook of all the winners, and so I know who's received something. Okay, keep working around. So I had a little game on Facebook and Instagram, and you guys will have to tell me what you think if you have what you think about this one. Let me get it up here. Go ahead and finish up your berries. A little questionnaire. It's kind of fun. Okay, the questions are, and I'll tell you what my answer was and why I picked that one. And if you want to tell us what your answer was and or is and why you've chosen that answer, that'd be great. So a little game. You walk into a mysterious little art gallery and can't take one piece and can take one piece home for free. But piece 1 glows in the dark. Piece 2 changes depending on your mood. Piece 3 unlocks a hidden memory. And piece 4 makes you dream in color. So you have 4 choices there. 1 glows in the dark. 2 changes depending on your mood. 3 unlocks a hidden memory. Or 4 makes you dream in color. Which one would you choose? So my choice, you guys, please tell us what you want. You would want. This is a mysterious little art gallery. So mine would be unlocks a hidden memory. I think that would be amazing. Because I feel there's so many memories from my childhood I don't remember, and I would love to remember. So mine's gonna be unlock a hidden memory. What would yours be? So Joan says dream in color. Ooh, that's cool. So do you think you don't dream in color? Some of us don't. Some of us dream in color, some of us dream in black and white. I realized I actually dream in color because I had a dream the other day where I saw a volcano and I saw the top of the volcano had a big red, it was like red and fiery, so and glowing because it was kind of dark outside. It was like glowing red. So I know I dream in color. And Liz says, if the mood is a happy one, she would take number 2. Yeah, that would be weird if it I mean, like, what would it change into? A scary looking piece of art? I don't know. And Cheryl says, I picked 2, then I would gift it to my hubby so he would be able to know what my mood was. That's funny. I love it. So he could be like, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, what's Cheryl's mood today?" Yeah, I don't know, I think I'd want one of each actually. They all have their perks. Glows in the dark is kind of fun, changes depending on your mood, unlocks a hidden memory, or makes you dream in color. So I asked my husband, "Do you dream in color?" And he was like, "I don't know." So we'll have to pay attention to our dreams, right? Figure out what we do. Do we dream in color or black and white? Alice says I choose number 2 as well, just so it would always be changing. I like that. I like that idea, Alice. That's cool. Would you come down into your like living room and go, "Huh, what is that on my wall?" What mood am I? Hmm. Okay, you guys keep answering. I would love to hear your answers for that one. That's fun. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and shade our flowers, and we're not gonna do every petal. We'll just do a few of them. So we're gonna go in with our color on our red petals first here. So I'm putting a line around that petal and then letting it fade as it comes up into the petal more, and I'm working around my little white spots. So this is where you can really clean up your lines of your petals. Just remember the darkest value is right at the tip of the petal. And I'm working on the bottom 3 petals first. Let it fade as it comes towards the center of the flower. And then I think I'm gonna skip those 2, and I'm gonna put some shading on this petal right here. So like I said, I don't want the shading on the whole flower. I just want it on little pieces here and there, and I'm chosen those 4 flower petals right there. Cheryl says she dreams in color. That's so cool. It's fun to know that. I have very vivid dreams sometimes. Sometimes I forget right as I wake up, but other dreams just stay with me all day. Okay, I'm gonna move down to the smaller flower, and I'm gonna work on those bottom petals. I'm always felt like if a dream stays with me, that I maybe need to pay attention to what that dream is trying to tell me. Yes, I am one of those people. I love dream interpretation. I love all that kind of stuff. Okay, bottom 3 petals on that one. Now, the beauty of doing this project even later, like you might be working with me now, but is that you can stop and start the video. If I'm going too fast for you, you can stop the video and then catch up that way. I like to have that option of being able to stop and start a video. Okay, I'm working on this flower right there, and I'm working around this petal. And I'm doing these bottom petals here first. I think I will take it up into this petal here. And then mm, a little bit on this petal that's underneath the yellow. Work around that a little bit. A little bit on the tip of this one too. And this bottom flower. Whoops. Sometimes that happens. It's okay. Just roll with it. Okay, I did those 2. I wanna do this one by the yellow flower. Work away from the yellow flower petal. And I think I'll put some on the tip here. Okay. Okay, we're also gonna put some shading on our yellow flowers. We're not gonna do every petal on the yellow flower, we're just gonna put touches, almost like we're tinting some of those petals. So on this upper yellow flower, I'm gonna tint the edge of this. I'm doing my line there. That's my dark value. Let's bring it down into that petal, working around the white spots. Just do a little tint of color on this flower. Let's do some down here too. So there's these two bottom petals. Let's add some tinting from there and a little bit on this one too. By the little branch. Okay, we're developing the design, we're adding layers of color, shading, and we're just making it better and better as we go along. Okay, this yellow flower, I'm going to put some tint of this color here on this petal. And the bottom one here too. And I want to put some up here on this one. Let it fade. If you have a hard time getting that light value of, fading into the yellow, just take your eraser and soften those edges. Put a little here on this guy too. Now onto the bottom flower, I'm going to add this pale vermilion to the bottom 3 leaves. Okay, and then a little bit underneath this flower that's right next to it. So on this petal, underneath the flower above it. Okay, so we got a little tinting done on the yellow flowers. We got our pink flower shaded. We didn't do every petal, we did select petals, and then we also shaded the bottom of each of the berries. That was with our pale vermilion pencil. Okay, let's see. Well, hello, Joan. Hello. Just watching my first time seeing you. Oh, wonderful. We're glad you're here, Joan. And Alice says, your color choices always work so well together. The pencil work really brings this piece to life. I agree. It's so fun to just have the color palette where you can choose different colors. I just absolutely love that freedom. And, color is amazing. Is amazing. And Valerie says, I think I chose number 2. So you chose changes depending on your mood. That's awesome, Valerie. Yeah, I kind of think that would be my second choice. I like that idea. Okay, our next color we're going to continue developing the design is light umber. That's that light brown. And this will help really bring some contrast into it. And then the black, of course, will finish it off. Okay, so with this color, we're going to want to go in. Let's see. Let's start with, mm, I should probably look at this real quick, just make sure. We're gonna lightly repeat some of the lining around the flowers in the darkest areas and shade some of the flower petals that are under an overlapping flower. So that's really all we're gonna do with our light umber pencil. Our black pencil will really bring in more contrast when we bring in the black. So just some of our pink flower petals, and some are yellow too. But there's a little bit of shading. I'm gonna just repeat my line around this flower up here at the top, this little pink flower, and shade up from there. But I don't want my shading to overtake what I did with the first layer of pale vermilion. I want it just to enhance it, and I don't want it to be too much. Like, I almost feel like I put a little too much there. So I'm gonna soften it a little bit. Just need a little bit there on that flower. We don't want the flower to feel like it has brown petals, right? Okay, then let's go over to this flower here. We've got a little bit of shading on this petal and some line work around it. So just a touch there. And we also have some on this one down here, this bottom yellow flower in this area underneath. Just a touch there. You're enhancing the shading, not overtaking it. Okay. Also, it's really easy to see where those two flower petals kind of blend into each other. Let's separate them by putting a line of light umber around this petal, and then let's shade into the red or the pink petal. That will help separate those. Just lightly shade. And how about right here? Same thing on this area of the design. It's the same situation, kind of losing those two colors are just blended into each other. So let's separate them with a little contrast. Okay, now we're going to lightly line around all the flower petals. Um, it's not a lot, so it's partially. So just I like to pick up my pencil here and there and focus more of the lining like in between the petals and then maybe where it's darkest at the shaded area of the petal. So a little there, but we don't want to totally overtake the design with lining. So darkest in between, pick up your pencil, bring it back down like so. Oops. So this is the one I just did. And I'm going to work around each of the flowers that way. Concentrate the line work where it's the darkest, where it's kind of light. Be careful not to overtake and do too much lining. So just enough to help you see that these are separate flowers. Definitely want a line around that one right there. A nice solid line because you want to separate those two flowers. Okay. And then these last 3 flowers, same thing. Bring in some contrast. Okay, we have some areas where I'd like to go in and do a little shading. Oh, there's this one right here that can kind of get lost. These 2 petals need to be separated right here. So go ahead and fill that in with some color just to separate those 2 petals. And we're going to fill this area over here in with a little bit of color too between those petals. I almost forgot this one too. And one last thing, I want to shade the tips of the blue leaves with this brown. So we're going to do just like we did with the green. We're just going to go in and shade the tips of the blue leaves. You don't have to put a lot there though. Just go on lightly, very lightly. I start out with my light value, basically. Okay, have a few more blue leaves to do. Continue around. A little bit of line work on the tip and then shade down from there very lightly. You don't need to put a lot of color on our blue leaves. You want to keep the shading fairly light. And then we'll finish up our pencil work with the black pencil, which will bring in a lot of contrast. Okay, so all your blue leaves done with a little bit of the light umber. Okay, moving on to black. I'm gonna get me a drink of water. After we get the black pencil done, then we'll choose a winner, and then we have a little bit of painting steps to do to finish this off, and when we get there, I'll tell you how to do it. Okay, black pencil. Let's start up at the top here. Now, the black pencil, you're going to add contrast, and we do need to, you know, we're not going to be too generous with it. We want to be careful and be conservative about it, but you'll notice that the black is really powerful. So, um, just like people that have a powerful singing voice, they always tell people that have this just really wonderful, robust singing voice, they tell them, be careful, be quiet in this part, or, you know, like control your voice a little bit. It's kind of the same thing with your black pencil. You got a powerful pencil here that has lots of pigment packed in it, and it could just overtake your whole design. So we want to be conservative about it. You'll notice the black just cuts through all the different colors and your wax layers that you've built up. So have a sharp pencil, and we're going to lightly line around the bottom of those. We're just repeating our line around our berries. So keep your pencil thin, your lines thin, and you're just doing a little repeat around the bottom of those berries. We're not doing any shading on the berries. We're just doing a little bit of line work around them. You'll notice how much they start to pop with that little black line around it. Concentrating on the bottom of the berry. Okay. And then have another set of berries on this right side. I think of a person that comes to mind that has a powerful singing voice as Judy Garland. She Her voice was so strong and wonderful, and she had to learn to temper it. Okay, we're really not gonna do a whole lot of shading with this black pencil. It's mostly line work and enhancing our details. So let's go back to our branches and stems, and we're gonna just work on adding some color where those branches and stems intersect. You know how we did the little thickness where they intersect? That's what we wanna do, is just kind of repeat that area there with a little black. So we're not going over the whole branch and stem. We're just adding a little more color where they intersect and deepen the color there. Okay. I'm gonna have to sharpen my pencil. You want to make sure it's nice and sharp as you go along. So take a break and sharpen it when you need to. just where they intersect. Add a little more deepness of color. And then we do want to repeat our little end of our tendril there. Repeat that line. Repeat the other end of it, the base of it. Moving around. Okay, and then all the way around. You notice how easily the black goes over the other colors. It's amazing to work with. Very strong and powerful. Okay, I got all around the wreath done, and I even did some of those stems where they meet up with the flower. Let's do these two right here. Make sure it's nice and brushed off. We'll go back in and do the deepest and darkest areas around the flowers and a few of the leaves. We've already done the berries, so um, where it's darkest, like right between the petals here and there, put a little black. Especially where these petals overlap each other, it's good to have a little bit of the black there going on. Now, usually the way I do my designs is it gets kind of darker and darker as I go, but then I lighten it up with my painted steps at the end. So, like finishing steps where I bring paint back into the equation, it lightens up again. So right now it's kind of getting darker and darker. Don't worry about that. We will lighten up the design in a little bit. Okay, let's go in and just add a little more detail around some of our leaves. You could just add a line or two here and there just to kind of say, yeah, that's a leaf there. It's nice to bring a little more contrast to the table here. And you can choose where you want to add. Where do you want to add a little more contrast to your leaves? And it doesn't have to be every leaf. You can kind of skip around. It's a touch of black around some of those leaves. Oops. There we go again. Goodness. I tend to be heavy handed with my pencils. Maybe you're light-handed. That's okay. All of us are different that way. All of us see things differently too. In my in-person classes, I usually notice that if you're light-handed or heavy-handed. Okay. Thinking some of my blue leaves need a few black lines going on. Okay. I think that's good enough. Okay. Let's show the whole thing. Can see everything going on here. A little close. Oh, right there. Maybe you're right there. Okay. All right. So here's our piece. We got all our pencil work done. We are ready for the painted finishing steps, which is exciting because we've come around the mountain and we're almost on the other side. Well, hello, Linda from Arkansas. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's choose a winner. I told you guys I was going to choose a winner. So let's do that. I'm just going to scroll through the comments really quick and pick someone. This winner will receive an e-pattern from our e-pattern page on our website. And I have Joan Schoen at Joan Schoen. Congratulations. I'm going to mark your name down. So I'm going to put this on you, Joan. I want you to go to our website and go to the digital e-pattern page. Pick out your favorite one. I don't care what it is. You just pick one you want. And then you email me and tell me which one, and I will reply to your email with that e-pattern. Okay, I'm going to put it on you because I have a lot on my plate right now. And I want to make sure you get it, but you got to reach out to me, okay? If you don't mind doing that, just go to our e-pattern page on our website at erikajoanne.com, ERIKAJOANNE.com, and pick out your favorite one. Send me an email. My email is everywhere. It's on this pattern. It's everywhere. It's Erika@erikajoanne.com or ask@erikajoanne.com. And I look at my email every day, so I will find that and reply with your e-pattern that you chose. Congratulations. That's awesome. Thank you for participating and commenting. Joan Schoen. Okay. All right, now we're going to set our paint and pencils. This is a little step that is important to do. You don't always have to do it, but I I like to. It's just a good thing to know how to do and to learn and why it's important. I use the Josanya Fast Dry and Glaze Medium. This is a light sealer, and it is sold in smaller bottles that are like, yay big, 2-ounce bottles, and it's sold in larger bottles depending on how much you want. And Joan Shane. Thank you, Joan Shane. Thank you. So I just have like little medium dishes that I collect. I love my little medium dishes. So you want to shake this up and put a little puddle in your medium dish. And then we had talked about this brush earlier, a soft, flat brush. I love this brush by Josanya. It's called the Oval Wash. Sure Touch Oval Wash, 3/4 inch. This is a wonderful brush. It's my go-to brush. Okay, so you want to take your dry brush, make sure it doesn't have any water in it. If you have water in it, just really try to squeeze that water out because the water does smear colored pencils. Isn't that interesting? It's crazy because they're wax based. Why would it smear wax based? I don't know, but it does. So you want to go ahead and put your medium in on your dry brush. Hold your brush at this side at the end so you're not putting too much pressure on your brush. You want to do it delicately because you don't want anything to smear that pencil work, especially the black. So no pressure. You don't want to put any pressure on your brush, and you want a dry brush with your fast drying glaze medium. Lay it down just one stroke at a time. Delicate, you guys. Just don't put pressure down. And I um, add more medium to my brush in between strokes because it does get pulled into the watercolor paper and just soaks right in. So you just keep adding medium to your brush in between strokes and work down. You notice I'm not overworking my piece. I don't want to smear anything. So I'm not overworking. Just being delicate. Just think delicate, delicate. Now you'll have your paper will kind of curl up a little bit because it's soaking in all that medium. That's totally okay. Once it's dry, it will flatten it back out. So once you're done with your medium, then you can rinse out your brush. Make sure and rinse it out because this is a light sealer. And if you let it dry in your brush, you're going to ruin your brush. Okay, so make sure and wash it out of your brush. Really good. And then just take your paper towel and take out that extra moisture out of your brush. You don't want to leave that in your brush. Just flip your brush or flip the paper towel over and really squeeze out that moisture. And then how do you let your brushes dry? How do you let them dry? You reform them, right? Reform them and then lay them down to dry. Okay, so we're letting this dry. Let it dry. Okay, put your medium dish away. That will put a light sealer on your piece so that when you go to add pencil work, and you can work over it, when you add pencil work or add more paint, then you can remove it. You can remove the paint fairly easily because you have a barrier coat in between those steps that you did previously. It's a light sealer. And like I said, you don't necessarily have to do it, but you absolutely do have to do it before you put any varnish on your piece. You cannot put varnish directly over your colored pencil work because varnish reacts with the colored pencils and makes it smear terribly. So you do definitely have to have that light sealer over your piece before you do any varnishing. Okay. All right, let that dry. Our next thing is we're going to add some painted details to just finish this off. We're almost done, you guys. Let's see here. Okay. This is where we're going to do the washing of the aqua between the flowers. So you know how we had the little details in between the flowers, a little aqua? We're going to put that down now. So you have some aqua already on your palette. You're going to take your round brush and you're going to create another wash. You might have to, mine kind of dried a little bit, so I'm going to create another wash. Just add some water to it. Okay, you want it to be transparent so you can see through it. Light and transparent. Okay. Okay, what we're going to do is just dab in between the different flowers and branches and leaves and stuff. We're going to just dab color and then we'll go back in and add more layers. So we'll deepen some of the color in different places. So I'm going to start kind of in the middle area between these flowers and see how I'm just kind of dabbing the color in there. I'm not like really strict about, oh, it's got to be from edge to edge. It's just dab your color in like that. Okay. Keep going, filling in some of those white spaces between the flowers and the different leaves. Okay, it's going to be darkest in this center area. That's why I started there first. You want it to be darkest there. We'll even actually put another layer later after it's dry. So that's where we want it to be darkest. And you're just touching that color in. You can leave some open spots here and there. Okay, as it goes out from there, it kind of flares out like that. We want it to soften, and we'll use some water to do that, okay? So I'm just kind of filling in some of those areas here. Okay, now we're gonna take our brush and use just water, and we're gonna soften the edges with water, okay? But I do wanna pull some of that pigment a little farther, so kind of a washy, watery, pigmenty to extend out beyond the center area, and we want it to get lighter and lighter. So you want to add water to your brush as you take that color out farther. And I'm not going to go really beyond this wreath area. I will pull out the color this way a little bit, but I'm not going to go beyond the wreath area. So just gonna fill it in here and there. Let it lighten up. And I can see I'm a little darker right here. I can always go in with my brush, take out any moisture, and I can kind of pull up that moisture like an eraser. Dab, dab, dab. You do want to leave a few open spots here and there where it's softer with your color. Okay, that's super easy. It's just really fun. Now, what we want to do is go back in with another layer. I'm going to start back in the middle because I want it darker. And I'm just dabbing here and there. Okay. We're going to get it while it's still wet so that color just kind of spreads a little bit. And here and there, we want it to be a little darker. I love this part because it feels so, I don't know, free. Just dab, dab, dab. Now, if you want to take some of the color off, you can, like I said, use, oops, I really punched my camera there. Let's get you guys back in order here. Okay, get it to stop shaking. No shaking. Okay, so what I was trying to say is if you feel like there's some areas that are a little too dark, you can just take your brush and remove some of the moisture here and there. You can do some of that and just make it a little bit, oh, just lots of different values of color going on in the background. I think that's fun. So you can pull up some of the color with your brush if you want. Just have fun with it. And I like to do that because I do love, like I said, the different values going on. I love that. Little spots here and there. And I think I'll put a few little dots of color there. Okay, that's good enough. That was fun. I enjoy that a lot. Oh, something's going on with my video. Not sure what's going on. Well, it's probably about time for me to get off, is probably what it's telling me. You need to get off. Um, let's see. There we go. Oh, I don't know what that was. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but there was blue on the screen on my end. Okay, I'm gonna punch this with a little heat so I can make it dry. We just have a little bit left to do. Not much. Okay, the last color, titanium white. We're gonna damp dry brush some highlights over the middle of the flowers. You guys are getting all kinds of little techniques going on today. All right, so with the highlights, my brush is damp. It's not drippy wet, it's just damp, okay? I'm gonna take my, just watch me closely. I'm gonna take my titanium white, I'm gonna add it to my brush and flip my brush over here and there on my palette. Just get it all spread through the brush, okay? Titanium white. Now, take your paper towel and a wet spot on your paper towel, remove some of that paint. It's nice to have a wet spot on your paper towel to do that with. You're going to go to the middle of your flowers and you're going to start in the very middle. That's where I want my highlight to be. And I'm going to add my color there. Okay. Now, if it does, you want it to spread out from the middle out onto each petal, but you want it to lighten up as it moves out onto the petal. So it should be darkest in the middle of the flower and lighter as it goes out into the petal. So if you have too much moisture in your brush, it's going to just go out and it's not going to fade. So just tap your brush on a paper towel to remove some of that moisture. And then you want to do about 3 layers on each flower. So always start in the center and then move out. See how I'm just kind of stroking my brush. And as I go, I get less and less paint coming off my brush because I removed a lot of it already. You want it to be opaque in the center of the flower and then fade out from there. Okay? It's like dry brushing, but I call it damp dry brushing because you use a damp brush to do this. Okay, I have a little hole right in the middle, so I'm going to come back to that once that's dry. I'm going to start in on another flower. Want all the flowers this way. If you look at the technique sheet in your e-pattern, it gives more explanation about damp dry brushing. And you can see it often in my videos because I do a lot of damp dry brushing. This is a technique that can be tricky if you've never done it before. but you can learn it and master it actually. It's not impossible. It's easy to do once you understand what you're trying to do and you understand what needs to happen with your brush, what needs to happen with the ratio of moisture in your brush. Just remember the middle is going to be opaque, and as you move out from the middle, it should lighten up here and there. Keep lightening up, and it will be kind of scratchy looking because you're using a dry brush. I like the scratchy look myself. I really like it. And as you continue to layer the color, you can be a little more generous with your paint as you continue to add more layers. We're just adding a highlight. This is my first layer on most of these flowers. This one's almost done, but not quite there. Okay, so I'm going to add more. Go back to this original flower. I'm going to add a little more in the middle. I want it nice and opaque. And then to fade out. So that one's done. This little one is done. Okay. Yeah, on my end of the screen was all blue. I'm not sure what it was like my mouse had highlighted it all. Somehow I had highlighted it. So I'm not sure what happened there, but we're good. Sounds like we're good. I was thinking, oh, maybe YouTube wants me off of here. We're almost done, you guys. I will leave you with a few tasks to do on your own. Like you can glue your jewels onto your piece. And the technique sheet does explain a lot of that if you have questions. And if you have a burning question, you need me to answer it, you can always email me. I'll try to walk you through whatever challenge you're having. Okay, I think we're good. I'm going to bring this in closer so you can see the texture that the damp dry brushing does. Let's see if we can bring this in. Okay, so can you see that texture right in here? All that texture. That's the damp dry brushing technique. That's what creates that. If we were doing regular dry brushing, it would be more fine and misty, but we're looking for the kind of like the chunky, the chunky highlight. So it's not as fine. All right, we are done with our painted steps. Put put this stuff aside, bring this back out. So because this is going a little bit long, I probably should get off here soon, but I wanted to explain what you can do next with this. You can add another coat of fast drying glaze medium just to make sure everything's nice and set. You do it the same way we did before. And then after that, you can use some varnish. And Josania makes they make 3 different varnishes or sheens. They make the matte, the satin, and the gloss. So you can decide which one you like to use. You can varnish it, and that makes your piece so nice. It just you can frame it and not, you can take the glass out of the frame. Your piece will be nice. The Josania varnishes are indoor outdoor, so they're really strong and powerful too, and they'll be very protective of your piece. But you do need to have the fast drying glaze medium barrier in between, before you do the varnish. Just make sure you do that before you add varnish. You have the choice also to glue your piece onto a wood panel. You could do that. You could glue it onto something else. Like you could glue it onto here and then glue it onto something else. It's just so many different options there. The gluing process, you can look through my videos. I do have lots that show you exactly how to do the gluing. I use PVA glue, which is a great artist glue. It um, is acid free and all that lovely stuff. So once you get your piece all varnished, then you can add your rhinestones. And you can also add your glitter. I just use all-purpose sealer to add my glitter. I use it as a glue. Basically, I just put my all-purpose sealer where I want to have my glitter and then shake my glitter over the sealer and then shake off the glitter. So you can concentrate where you want your glitter. Just take a brush and use all-purpose sealer to apply over the areas that you want glitter. You might want glitter on your berries, or you might want glitter on some of your leaves. You can decide how you want to do that. I'm going to leave you to it, but I hope you enjoyed today's video. I sure did. It was so great to be on with you, and congratulations again to Shane. Shane? I said it wrong. I don't know. Congratulations to Joan. I'm anxious to hear from you, Joan. And please post your pieces that you finished on our Paint and Pencil with Us group page on Facebook. That's just an open page for you. Just come and join, and it's free, and you can chat with other paint and pencil enthusiasts. So I will leave you with that. Enjoy your berry blossoms, and we will see you next week with a dog page. Ta ta for now.